The Hornby range of LNER Mark III coaches in the distinctive red and white livery has been much anticipated by contemporary modellers. In this video I want to review the 9 coaches in the range and consider how they compare to previous Mark III coaching stock from Hornby. Let's take a closer look. Hi, thanks for joining today's video. So what we're going to cover today is first we'll take a look at an overview of the range. We'll look at the 5 different coach types across the 9 different actual coach numbers. We'll do a detailed look of each of the main coach types. We'll do a quick running session to show you how these perform on the layout and also see how they actually look. And then we'll do a final scoring and summary at the end. Okay, let's get into the next section. So what we're going to look at here is an overview of the Mark III LNER coach range. These are all in the pristine LNER red and white livery, which would be the ex-Virgin livery as people would have known it previously. There are 9 variants, as I mentioned, across 5 different coach types. Those coach types are the TGS, the TSD, TSO, TRFB and the TFO. The new one there, probably which wouldn't be as common, is the TSD, the disabled standard car. And that is in the range, and there are multiple versions of both the TSO and the TFO, which brings the total number of coaches up in the range up to 9, and we'll see that as we get through the next couple of areas. They come with 2 sets of couplers, and they are defaulted with the Lima type DMU type couplers. These are fitted as standard. They can be easily swapped out. They can come in the standard NEM pockets, so you can fit a coupler that will give you a direct compatibility with the couplers on your HST locomotives. So you'll be probably changing at either end of your rake. You'll probably be changing the couplers to fit with those. But I would recommend keeping the Lima type couplers for all of the rest of the connections, as they do give the best performance for operating at high speed. There are optional buffers included for both the front and the rear, so that's a nice little add. And the current selling price is in the range of $31.50 to $34.50, and that's of course if you can get them, because these coaches have sold out on pre-order so far, so there's very few of them available. There's still some available on eBay, and there's some limited stocks with some of the vendors based on the current round of coaches. So definitely would recommend picking these up sooner rather than later if you are interested in getting them, as those prices will rise once they sell out from the standard vendors and you're having to pay a premium on eBay. So these are popular coaches, so if you do get an opportunity to purchase them, and you're interested in them, then please go ahead and do that quickly. So let's take a look at the major coach types. So I'm going to do them in the order in which they would actually appear in the rake. If you'll notice on the left hand side of the coach there, you'll see a letter, and all of the coaches are lettered, and obviously that's to allow somebody on their ticket to actually see where they're going to sit, in which coach and in which seat. So those letterings carry through the different ranges. So the first one we have here is the trailer guard standard, and I've also done given the weight of the different coaches here. So this one is actually the heaviest of all of the coaches at 176 grams. It would fit at the very front of the rake, so that's probably a good place to have a heavy coach like this. And there's only one of them in the range with the running number 4494 there. So this is the TGS, and this just mirrors the similar TGSs that you would have on previous Mark III ranges from Hornby. We'll take a little bit more look at the detail of the coach here. As you can see it, quite a nice labelling detail around the doors. The white doors have blown out a little bit on the photograph here. They come with the little yellow handles you'll see there, and then you got a lot of labelling there around the door area, and a nice grab rail there, and a nice painted foot plate there. So some nice detail on these coaches. The underbody is a little bit bland, and this is pretty well the same as previous Mark III's from Hornby. They are looking at an enhanced, more detailed range of Mark III's going forward, but obviously they will be more expensive. And you will have seen the Oxford Rail Mark III coaches as well, which do add a lot of underbody detail. But so that's just one thing to note on these coaches. You'll see the couplers at the end there. These are the default couplers, the Lima type couplers as I described them, and these are very effective, and I do find them as probably a superior coupler to the NEM type coupler, particularly for coaches like this that should be running at relatively high speed. It's a nice paint job and a nice looking carriage here, and you can see the detail at the back end there in terms of the extra expansion for the door there to get your bicycles or whatever in and out. So overall, quite a nice coach for the TGS, in line with the previous TGSs from previous Mark III ranges. The next card is the new one. This is the disabled, trailer standard disabled, weighing in at 158 grams, which is pretty well the average weight for all of these coaches. So only one of these in the range, so there's a single running number for these, and you'll see the disabled sticker there appearing on the side of the coach. And again, pretty well the same level of underbody detail, etc. on this particular coach. There's nothing else really to call out here. It's very similar to the TGS. The trailer standard open. This has always been a huge challenge to get these on previous ranges of Mark III coaches, because they only tended to be one of them, and I think one good thing here is that there are 4 different coach types now with 4 different running numbers, so this is really to be welcomed and should help in terms of the availability of this particular coach type in making up your rake. Again, you'll see the letter there, the letter G, because these ones fit next along in the range. And again, a modest level of detail on these particular coaches. These are the pretty standard coach types, so there's not a lot of detail. The couplers are the same and the underbody really is the same there. Next we move on to the Trailer Restaurant First Buffet, TRFB for short. This is actually the lightest of the coaches, probably because it has a little bit less plastic with the removal of the seating in the buffet area. So it is quite a light coach. There's only one of them with single running number there. Some nice detail again on here, and you've got the first class there on the door, which again you'll see on the TFO coach that comes up next. And some slightly different detailing on the roof, obviously as it's been a buffet coach, so that's in line with that. And again, you get the nice these little blue lines appearing on the first class coaches, so they appear on this one and they also appear on the TFO on the next coach we'll take a look at, so they're distinctive. Nice little extra detail added there. And then finally we have the Trailer First Open, the TFO, again weighing in at the 158 grams. There are 2 of these, so you can have 2 of these in your rake with unique numbers, and they continue that. They've got the first class legend on the doors, and they also have the distinctive blue striping across the carriage there, and again a similar level of detail to the other coaches. Okay, now we're going to get into the running session. So we're going to give this run for about a minute. We're going to do a few circuits of the layout with a 5-car rake. Each of the 5 different coach types is represented in this rake, and it's been pulled by the Virgin liveried HSTs, actually with DCC sound, as you can hear. So I would have run these previously with the earlier versions of the Mark IIIs in this livery, and this is the first time I've had all 5 coach types running on the layout. I do intend to run with a full 9-car rake, and I'm still waiting for a couple of the other coaches to come through. So running here at the maximum speed of the HST, default maximum speed, and really the performance of the coaches is excellent, as you can hopefully see. Really smooth, running on a radius 3 here, so out of 3 or 4 would be typically what you'd run on, and we're just finishing up the running session. So hopefully that gives you a feel for really how good these coaches actually perform from a running perspective. So in summary, as you'll have seen from the running session, the running performance of these coaches is excellent, and that's in line with the previous Mark IIIs from Hornby. I do like the alternative couplers that are provided. I think they do give excellent performance in terms of assuring the connection between the coaches. So really the performance of these coaches, I've always rated the Hornby Mark IIIs as very highly from a performance perspective. Never had any problems with them running at the max speeds of the HSTs and the layout, so I'm giving them a 5-star here. In terms of appearance and detail, overall good, and the paint job is nice, and these are nice looking coaches, and there is a good reasonable level of detail. However, they are a little bit bland in terms of the underbody and also at either end. So these will benefit, I think, from an upgrade in terms of what Hornby are looking at for their upgraded versions of Mark IIIs, and I think there's some extra detail that could be added. So they are a little bit bland. I guess if you look at the price point, that's probably okay, and if you're trying to build a rake of 8 or 9 of these, then price is a factor. So the more expensive, more detailed coaches in the future may not be appealing from that perspective, but there is an opportunity for improvement here, and hence I'm giving a 4-star. The extras, really, they're the couplers and the buffers, which are nice. It is nice to have the option of adding in the buffers at either end of the coach, as it is also having the alternate couplers there. And I think the range of coaches here, the fact that you do have the 9 coaches in total and the 5 different coach types is good. But as I said, it is missing in terms of potential added detail. Pricing, I think, is good. I'm giving a 4-star for that. I think that the price range in the £35 range is pretty good. We wouldn't like to see it go much more than that, and that makes it reasonably affordable to build up a substantial rake. And overall, I'm giving a 4-star rating, and this is in line with what I would have given to other Mark III coaches from Hornby. These really are in line. They're a similar level of quality, similar level of detail, and also the same level of performance. So a 4-star, they are worth having. They are recommended. I think if you are obviously a contemporary modeller and somebody modelling the current railways, then these are probably a must-have if you've got HSTs on your in your configuration. So that's would probably be a must-own in that regard. But as I say, they do line up with recent Mark III offerings from Hornby, the intercity offerings, which I reviewed recently. The running performance is pretty well identical. It's like running the same coaches. But these do have the added benefit of the extra coach type and the additional running numbers, and that just gives you a much better opportunity to build up a more realistic rake, and I think that's something to be taken forward in the future. So thank you, Hornby, for doing that. Okay, so hope you found this an informative review today. Thanks for joining the session, and hope to see you on one of these reviews in the near future. So in the meantime, happy modelling.